Okay, let's talk about opinions. Once the Supreme Court has decided on a case, they've heard arguments from both the lawyers. They go back to their meetings, those secret meetings, and then they discuss what they've heard. After they discuss, they have a very quick vote. There's 9 people that could potentially hear the case. Most votes win, so if 5 people vote like, hey, this side wins, and 4 people vote the other side wins, 5 beats 4. So obviously, if it's a big case, like a big monumental case, they try the best they can to get unanimous or as close as they can as possible. Like a Brown versus Board of Education, that's a monumental, some big changes for everybody. They want it to look like the Supreme Court was completely on board. Now, once they decide, there has to be a written opinion to go out and tell the world kind of what they have done. Opinions do a couple of different things, but mainly they are instructions for people. For example, let's talk about Miranda versus Arizona. It was an instruction to all law enforcement officials that you have to read people their rights. You have to let them know that they can get an attorney. You have to let them know they can stop questioning. You have to let them know that if they answer a question, that information is going to be used at a trial. So everything from that point on is going to go and kind of be recorded. Okay, so opinions are instructions for people, whether it's police officers or whoever is affected by the case. It's also instructions to the lower courts that this is now the precedent that you have to start using. So they have to start applying, like when Miranda versus Arizona was decided, you have to start applying that to police officers need to warn suspects if they want to count their confession or the evidence they obtain through interrogation, that sort of thing. Now, when determining who writes the opinion, if the Chief Justice is on the winning side, and it's a monumental case, the Chief Justice is going to probably take that for himself. He'll probably write that. In the other cases, if he's on the winning side, he's going to assign somebody to write it, whether that's him or somebody else. He'll make that determination. If he is not on the winning side, then the senior member of the winning justices will determine who writes the opinion, whoever's been on the court the longest. There's a couple of things they can do. A couple different kinds of opinion. A unanimous opinion is obviously when it's 9-0, or if there's a fewer number of justices, obviously it could be 8-0 or 7-0. But when it's everybody votes for one outcome, obviously that's what they're shooting for. All justices vote the same. Majority opinion is just obviously 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 votes. Okay, so majority opinions is not everybody, but most everybody voted the same way. And again, this is the instructions. This is kind of why they're important. Okay, these other two are going to seem a little different. Concurring opinion is just this. I voted on the winning side, but I do not agree with the reasons that are expressed in either the majority or the unanimous opinion. So let's just take Brown versus Board of Education. I might have voted again. We need to end school segregation, but the reasons they're giving are not the correct reasons in my book. I came to the conclusion that we need to end school segregation, but these are the reasons I think it, not those people. Dissenting opinions are, I'm on the losing side, and I feel so strongly about this case. I'm going to write a dissenting opinion to tell everybody why that opinion is the wrong one. These are the legal facts that should have been considered, and they were not. Okay. Concurring opinions and dissenting opinions do not have to be written. Those are optional. So you may be thinking to yourself, why in the world would somebody do that if they don't have to? Here's the answer. Concurring opinion, again, you want to get all the legal reasons out there. So if somebody on a precedent decides they're going to challenge this case or use it to uphold another case, you want those legal reasons out there so they can utilize those. And on a dissenting opinion, that is especially true. Let's take Brown versus Board of Education as the example. Let's say, actually, let's take a different one. Let's take all the cases that came before Brown, all those cases that challenged school segregation but lost, that upheld the separate but equal. Okay, let's say I voted like we need to end school segregation, and just the rest of the people were not on board yet. Dissenting opinion does a couple things. One, it records for history, like I'm on the right side of this issue, like I voted against it. But the other thing is I'm laying out a little bit of a roadmap for anybody that wants to challenge this. Here are the reasons that I think are good ones. Why don't you use those in your argument? Here's the reasons I think that school segregation should be ended. So when Brown versus Board of Education did come around, hopefully they can use my dissenting opinion on the other cases as a reason to overturn Plessy versus Ferguson. Okay, for sure. Okay, so writing the opinion is a big deal. Said it does a lot of things. The other thing is, once the opinion has been written, it has to be agreed upon. And this is a little bit harder than it seems. So let's just say I'm the one that writes the opinion. I write it up, research it. My law clerk's researching it. It's passed around the office. And usually, like, the people that vote on my side will have suggestions like, well, I really didn't vote because of this reason. I think you should change that wording. So they kind of negotiate the right wording. Sometimes it gets so contentious that people might say, like, yeah, like, I don't like the way you wrote that. I'm going to change my vote because of the way you wrote the opinion. I don't think that's the right way to look at it. So they could absolutely change that if they see fit. So that sometimes happens, is if they don't agree on the opinion, sometimes that threatens the actual vote. And until the opinion's written and agreed upon, that vote can be changed. Even if it was 5-4 and, hey, this side won, if my opinion didn't suit everybody, I could take a win and turn it into a loss really quick if somebody jumps ship and wants to go to the other side because they don't like the way my opinion went. Okay, if anybody has any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I will see you soon. See ya!